Welcome to another Math Ninja Pro video.
In this video, we are going to use our zero product principle to try to help us to solve more challenging quadratic equations. So in our first equation, 2y multiplied by 8y plus 3 equals to 1. We can see that on the left hand side, we do have something times something, right? But unfortunately, it is equal to 1 and is not equal to 0. So we cannot apply the zero product principle. So how can we solve this equation? Right, to solve this equation, we would first need to use our distributive law to expand the equation first. Right, that would give us 16y squared plus 6y equals to 1. Now, to apply the zero product principle, we would need the right hand side of the equation to be equal to 0. So in order for that to happen, we will need to subtract 1 on both sides of the equation. So we will have 16y squared plus 6y minus 1 equal to 0. So how can we express 16y squared plus 6y minus 1 equal to 0 as something times something equals to 0? So in order to do that, we will need to factorize our 16y squared plus 6y minus 1. And to do that, we would need to use our multiplication frame method. So let's put our y squared term in the yellow box and our constant term in the pink box. Now what we need to get is we need to get 6y, right? So we need to guess our factors intelligently. So how can we get 6y? If we have 8y times 2y, we will see that we will be able to subtract 8y minus 2y, right, in order to get 6y. So this seems like a good factor to try. So let's use 8y and 2y first. And in order to get negative 1, we can have 1 times negative 1 or negative 1 times 1. But we do not know where to put the negative sign first. So let's ignore that first and just put as 1. And then we can see that in our gray box, we are going to have 2y and 8y. So now, if I want to get 6y, I would need 8y minus 2y, right? So that means that this has to be negative 1, whereas this has to be plus 1. So our factors would be 8y minus 1 and 2y plus 1. So solving this, we would have our a equals to 0 or our b equals to 0. So 8y would be equal to 1. So either y will be 1/8 or 2y equals to negative 1. So y equals to negative half. Alright, so we would have our two solutions for the equation 2y times 8y plus 3 equals to 1. Now let's try another example. So if we look at this second example again, we see that we will need to start by using our distributive law to expand both sides of the equation first. So after expansion, alright, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get 15a minus 3a squared equals to 14 minus 8a. Now in order to apply our zero product principle, we must have the right hand side of the equation to be equal to 0. So that means that I would need to subtract 14 on both sides of the equation and add 8a on both sides of the equation, so that I would have 15a minus 3a squared minus 14 plus 8a equals to 0. So let's collect our like terms together and rearrange so that we have our a squared term in front. Then our a term will be 15a plus 8a, that's 23a, minus 14 equals to 0. Now usually, when there's a negative coefficient for a squared, it is a little bit difficult to do the multiplication frame method. So what we can do is we can divide throughout by negative 1. Okay, this means we divide every single term in the equation by negative 1, so that we will get 3a squared minus 23a plus 14 equals to 0, since 0 divided by any number remains as 0. So now what we have is 3a squared minus 23a plus 14, and this is the quadratic equation that we need to solve. And to solve it, we need to first express it as something times something equals to 0. And to do that, again, we need to use our multiplication frame to help us. Alright, so let's write down our a squared term in the yellow box and our constant term in the pink box. And let's guess our factors. Right, to get 3a squared, we have 3a times a. Okay, to get 14, we can have 2 times 7. Okay, or we can have 1 times 14. But what we need to do is we need to remember that we want to get negative 23a as the sum in our grey boxes. So in order to do that, alright, let's try to do some intelligent guessing of factors. I would think that we should have 7 and then 2. If we do this right, we are going to have 3a times 7. In our first grey box over here, we are going to have 21a. And in our second grey box, we are going to have 2 times a, so it's 2a. Now, we can see that we can get 21a plus 2a, that's 23a. But we need to get negative 23a. So how can we get negative 23a? Unless we have negative 2a and negative 21a, right? But how are we going to have negative unless this is negative and this is negative as well? But if we do that, can we check that negative 2 times negative 7, we are still able to get positive 14. So this means that our factors are indeed 3a minus 2 and a minus 7. Okay, so by doing this, you can see that now we have a times b equals to 0 already. So we just need to solve this by rewriting it as a equals to 0 or b equals to 0. 3a will be equal to 2. So a will be 2/3 or a will be 7.
Remember to like, subscribe, and keep coming back for more Ninja level math videos.